utveckla kärnvapen. Det skulle inte bara vara ett hot mot hela den regionen utan också mycket, mycket bredare hot än så. Har man sagt det så har ju vi och EU varit väldigt tydliga med att det här måste komma tillbaka till förhandlingsbordet. Uppmanar till återhållsamhet, tillbaka till förhandlingsbordet. Eskalera inte en konflikt i Mellanöstern som redan är otroligt spänd. Det finns också mycket breda risker i detta. Vi ser redan idag med anledning av det som händer i Mellanöstern, mer specifikt i Gaza, så ser vi betydande oroligheter på många håll runt också i vår del av världen. Det här kan driva upp det ytterligare. Risken för terrorhot och andra farliga aktiviteter på europeisk mark ökar i detta. Så vår uppmaning är deeskalering, tillbaka till förhandlingsbordet, säkerställa att Iran inte tillåts utveckla kärnvapen. Och i övrigt så följer vi naturligtvis utvecklingen extremt noga, minut för minut. Det finns inga uppgifter än så länge om svenskar som har råkat illa ut i detta, så vitt vi vet just nu. Ambassadpersonalen i Teheran är välbehållen. On that, Mark and I just had a productive meeting ahead of the upcoming NATO summit, as you realize. Exciting times in so many ways, important times as well. And during our discussion, I shared a few Swedish key priorities ahead of this summit. First, a united alliance is a strong alliance. Extremely important to stress that. In these challenging times, we need to stand together, and I'm very impressed by Mark Rutte's enormous efforts to build this unity ahead of the summit. Second, this is the moment where Europe must take great responsibility for our own defense. Sweden is a leading country to that. We want the summit to manifest strongly increased European ambitions and to set a new ambitious goal for defense spendings. A few months ago, as you know, the Swedish government announced our own plans for Sweden to make the biggest military build-up since the early days of the Cold War. That is a significant step for Sweden. And today, I'd like to confirm that Sweden will reach a new NATO spending target of 5% to GDP, where at least 3.5% to GDP will be allocated towards core defense requirements to fulfill NATO's new capability targets. That is a Swedish decision, and of course we will formalize that again after the NATO summit in The Hague. My government has already announced the increase to 3.5% of GDP, and we did that because we realize that regardless of the NATO summit decision, we are in a specific geographical situation where we need to meet the future threats from Russia. And the backdrop is, of course, the war of aggression against Ukraine, but also the fact that we know Russia since very, very many years. Russia is the threat to Ukraine, but not only to Ukraine, but all European countries and to the alliance. And I think there is a growing sense of urgency. I think that will be reflected also in Mark Rutte's comments among allies that more countries need to do the same thing right now. Third, supporting Ukraine's right to self-defense against Russia. That strengthens the security across the Euro-Atlantic area. It also defends the rules-based world order, which benefits people all over the world. I think Sweden's entry into NATO slightly more than 1 year ago meant that we bring geography and we bring capacity to the alliance. And in terms of geography, I normally say just look at the map. Sweden is one of the largest European countries in NATO in terms of pure size, and we have the longest Baltic Sea coastline, and our historic experience in naval operations in the Baltic Sea is unmatched by any other nation, on the sea, under the surface, and in the air. Regarding Russia, we see increased activity, including Russia allocating more resources than usual to the Baltic Sea right now. We also see that our targeting of the shadow fleet is affecting Russia's economy and diminishing its resources. And together with allies, we will continue and, if needed, ramp up our activities in the Baltic Sea. Now we stand ready as a basing and staging area for the Allied reinforcements. This will strengthen NATO's ability to carry out operations in Northern Europe, in the Baltic Sea, and to reinforce the eastern flank, thereby strengthening the alliance as a whole. Which brings me to our capabilities. I won't bore you in details, but we joined NATO last year as a net security provider to the alliance, bringing some important national strengths across air, land, surface, subsurface, cyberspace, and space domain. For us, all these are kept together. Our advanced defense and space industries, combined with some of Europe's strongest cyber and intelligence capabilities, enhance the alliance capabilities. And since joining NATO, finally, and I won't brag now, but I just want to mention them, we have deployed hundreds of soldiers to NATO's multinational brigade in Latvia. We have sent Swedish fighter jets to NATO's air policing mission, helping to secure Allied airspace. We have provided Gripen fighters to operate in Polish airspace to protect the logistics for providing Ukraine with material. And we have contributed naval forces to NATO's minesweeping units and to NATO's enhanced presence at the Baltic Century, increasing the situational awareness, improve NATO's ability to respond to destabilizing acts in the Baltic Sea. Obviously, very necessary activities right now. And we are taking on the responsibility as a framework nation for NATO's enhanced forward presence in Finland. That is what we are trying to do right now. Finally, given the serious security situation right now, Sweden is entering a new phase of investment, building our country stronger through historic commitments to defense industry, to infrastructure, research and energy systems. And we do this in a scale we haven't seen for decades. Obviously, we do this in a very serious situation. We do because we need to do it, but we also think this is an investment that will bring security to Sweden, but also bring prosperity to Sweden. Thank you so much for being here, Mark. Please.
Thank you, Ulf, and thank you for welcoming me to Sweden. It's always a pleasure to see you and to be back in beautiful Stockholm. And this is my first visit here as NATO Secretary General. And it is an honor to be here with our newest ally. Sweden has only been a member of our alliance for now 15 months, but you are already making major contributions across the alliance. Your forces strengthen our posture in the High North and in the Baltic region. As you said, you contribute to forward land forces in Latvia, and you will lead NATO's newly established forward land forces in Finland. Indeed, your Gripen fighter jets help patrol the skies over Poland, and your ships contribute to our enhanced military presence in the Baltic Sea through Baltic Sentry. Sweden is also one of NATO's 7 Arctic allies, and your expertise in the region has enhanced our posture in the High North and strengthens our ability to reinforce our Baltic allies. Last week in Brussels, NATO defense ministers agreed on an ambitious new set of capability targets. These targets describe what capabilities allies need to invest in over the coming years. From our air defense and fighter jets to tanks, drones, logistics and of course personnel. And this is what it takes to keep our 1 billion citizens safe and to keep our deterrence and defense strong against a rapidly reconstituting Russia. So these targets, these capability targets, are the foundation for a new defense investment plan, a key priority which we will take forward during the NATO summit in The Hague. Last year, Sweden invested already 2.66% of your GDP on defense. And indeed, I welcome your government's strong determination to go much and much further. This is a clear demonstration of Sweden's commitment to collective defense. Boosting defense industrial production is another key priority for the summit in The Hague. And Sweden also here is playing a leading role. Because you have a world-class defense sector. With companies like Saab, the leading supplier to the Swedish armed forces. and Volvo Defence. Sweden is helping to drive forward the modernization and resilience of our collective NATO defence industry. Sweden is also a hub of advanced research on defence industrial capabilities. Sweden is a staunch supporter of Ukraine. Since 2022, you have provided over 7 billion euros in military assistance to Ukraine, including 1.25 billion in the first 4 months of this year alone. In terms of GDP, this places Sweden among the top contributors to Ukraine. And I also welcome your investment in Ukrainian defence industry. You are truly leading by example. We are now less than 2 weeks away from the NATO summit in The Hague. And there, I expect leaders to make bold decisions to further strengthen our deterrence and defence, including agreeing a new defence investment plan that would bring our defence investment to 5% of GDP over the next several years. This will ensure that allies have the forces, the capabilities, and also the industrial base required to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. So, dear Ulf, thank you once again for your hospitality, your leadership, and your commitment to our transatlantic alliance.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much. And please, the floor is open.
We'll start with a question from TT over here.